Good morning. Hey, it's the last day of February, which makes it the second month of the first quarter is now almost behind us by the end of the day. That means we're coming into what? The spring selling season. So what we should have done this whole quarter is stockpiled our CRM full of leads that are going to be incubated and they're going to crawl out of the woodwork and buy like crazy in March, April, May, June, July, and it'll start tapering around in August. So no rest for the weary. We made it through the slow doldrums, and I'm going to show you some graphs. I'm going to geek out on graphs today, and some of you are going to go, and some of you are going to go, wow. That'll be the C's. The other 75% will go, he's nuts. Cool. All right. I'm going to geek out. I see Megan there, and I know it's end of month. So let's get Megan done. Nice to see you on the cruise on Friday.
Yes, it was very nice to see everybody. Good morning. I just wanted to pop in and say congratulations from Friday to all the top agents, and just remind you guys that we are here if you need anything. Myself, Kathy, Lisa Wilkinson, we're here to do net sheets, answer any questions that you guys will have.
Cool. And remind us what's happening in March.
Oh, yes. Next Thursday, we are doing the elder abuse and probate training with Fidelity National. You do have to register through the link. I'll send it out to you again, Craig, today so we can resend that back out. And it is a 2-hour training for your CE credits. So that's really awesome. I'm excited for it. For the elder abuse and probate, I'm seeing it a lot more right now. So I'm really excited for it too.
You know, we have issues with that, not to let you go yet, but so Jeanette came to me, I think it was you last week. You had a woman who couldn't make up her mind and she refused to let you talk to her daughter. She refused to let you talk to any family members. That could be considered elder abuse. And as this community ages, we're going to run into people that we have to make a decision. If we have any doubt if they're of sound mind, we can't put them in a real estate transaction, right? It's just not it's our responsibility not to. They need to get help, and because they can't legally sign if they're mentally disturbed. So this will be something I don't know much about, so I'm looking forward to learning it. So it's taught by Fidelity National, the big underwriter, and they've got a licensed instructor who's going to do the training. So we'll have to be on their camera and we'll have to do their rules. But you'll get, is it 2 hours?
2 hours.
2 hours of continuing education credit. So if we bring you 7 of those over the course of this year, you'll have your 14 hours done. You don't have to sit through another class. Although I can do my 14 hours about an hour by the pool. It's okay. But good. So that's next, because we're the first Thursday. It's the second Thursday of each month. So the first Thursday of March will be this Thursday. So the second Thursday will be next week. So you do have to sign up for that link. So let's make sure that happens. Thank you for all your work. You get some closings today?
We do. Yeah. India's in Sun City Center today with Amy, her processor. They got a busy day, and we have a busy day in Apollo Beach too.
Nice. Last day of the month.
Yes.
And it's not a full moon, so we should have a nice day. Cool. Thank you very much, Megan.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
Okay. All right. Some quotes from Albert Einstein today. Chris, do number 1.
I have no special talents. I am only passionately curious.
Let's talk about that for a second. Have you met some real estate agents that do a lot of business and aren't very good? True, right? You don't have a lot of talent, but they're passionately curious in what they're doing. I was just talking to you. You were very happy because your deal that died is coming back, and she was not concerned in the bit about the deal dying and her not getting a commission. She was concerned about her sellers moved on and bought another house and put 25 grand non-refundable down with a builder. And now they're going to be screwed if this one doesn't go through. And the buyer came back and said, we're going to close because of the LLC, all this other stuff that happens. So, but that's the passion, right? The passion was getting the deal done, not putting the commission in her pocket. So I thought that was kind of cool. Number 2, life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep moving, right? Forrest Gump, run, Forrest, run. Like riding a bicycle, keep your balance, you must keep moving. That's what we're trying to instill with the mastermind, right? I know you guys aren't doing your 5 a day, but some of you are doing more than what you would have done if you didn't do that, right? So as long as we keep moving, we're heading in the right direction. Kathleen, number 3.
Good morning. I never think of the future. It comes soon enough.
Yeah, it's the future now. Number 4, Joe Diener.
Good morning. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited. Imagination encircles the world.
Now, what does that make you think of? What's our 4 things we're focusing on this quarter?
Sounds like clarity.
Clarity, focus, actions, and accountability. So the problem I think we're having is coming up with our clarity, what our why is. And that's because it's imagination. And we all come from different corners of everywhere of life. And what I can imagine is different than what you can imagine, and you can imagine, and you can imagine. All right. And there's no right or wrong. We think we're going to be right or wrong. There's no right or wrong, because next quarter, we're going to change it anyway. So it's all good. And number 5, only a life lived for others is a life worthwhile. That embodies your statement there again, too. Obviously, thoughts from one of the greatest geniuses of all times. Finish February strong and have a great March. And we're going to have a great March. Next slide. This is my rant. I'm just keeping it up there because I think it's important. There it is. We just clarity, focus, action, and accountability. So we did a take yesterday, a twist. And rather than prescribe, I want you to send this message to these people, we went around the room and said, what's working for you? What's working for you? What's working for you? And some people said, well, maybe I'll try that, because we're lost in what we want to try. So that's a free game this week, but make 5 contacts a day any way you want to do it. So we'll see how that works by Friday. And that was 5 weeks, 5 messages per day. Messages are really conversations or connections where you send a message out, they write back, right? Okay, so here, I'm going to drive for a second. February production compared to pre-COVID. This is my little rant right now because it's it. So I've got an Excel sheet pulled up, and I'm going to open Elliot's blog first because this is so true and it's really interesting to me. Sales meeting folder. Elliot, nip this up. Elliot is the bow tie economist. I read him every day, and sometimes they're cool. Sometimes they're stupid. Home sales eased for the 12th straight month in January, the longest streak of monthly declines since 1999, when data collection began. Sales fell to a seasonally adjusted annualized rate of $4 million, 4 million units, down from 4.03 million in December and 4.1 million in November. So they're forecasting the number of sales to go down. Now, Gary Keller last week told us that 2023 was the best sales volume year, 3rd best in the history of real estate, after 2022 and 2021.
Just say, when you think about it, though, when you think of the sales like a speed limit's 55. Well, we've been doing 155 for the last 3 months. So
I'm going to show you that.
when they're slowing down for 12 months, when you've slowed down consecutive, okay, 155, 145, 130, we're still doing 105 miles an hour and the speed limit's 55.
Right.
So they've eased for the last 12 months,
Mhm.
but when you compare it to what we've been doing, it's still a significant.
And that's why I'm going to geek out over the graphs, because I've done that. So it says, the increasingly tiny decline suggests the sales bottom is here or fast approaching. Prices rose 1.3% year over year, the smallest rise since 2012. Year over year prices will soon decline, says he. But look at the declines. So when you went up 40% and you dropped down 1.3, you're still 90% ahead of where you were. Okay. So that's that. And then we go to this. Okay, so this is dash reporting. So when you guys turn in your contracts on time and submit for review through .loop, Sammy puts them in the dash, and the dash puts this in, and I go and pull reports. And what this is a production summary report. And this is 2023 over here. And this is 2020, 2019. Now, 2019 I put in because that's pre-pandemic. So that's when we were rocking. We were happy. 2017 was good. 2018 was good. 2019 was good. And then COVID hit and the world went, what the hell happened? And we thought it was going to crash. And it did for about 3 months. And then it went berserk. And we rode that high for a long, long time. But the operative thing is 2019, we were happy in 2019. So I'm going to show you 2023 compared to 2019. Now, first thing is our sales force is up a lot, 580. That's our Miami acquisition. So we now have Century 21 BE3 in Miami. That was 100 and something agents. So our agent count is up. So what's that going to be for us for sales going into next year? This year, we should have more sales. We have more people, right? That's why we hire new people. Listings, we took 109 in February, 2/1 to 2/29. 29 was last year leap year. Okay. We took 109. In 2019, we took 177. I'm sorry. And then in 2023, we took 74. So that's endemic of a what? Listing shortage. We're not replacing the inventory. Why? Because people don't want to sell their houses they're living in because the rates are so low and the rental market is huge. And I'll show you that too. So we have a systemic problem there that listings were not meeting the listing demand. So what are we focusing on as an organization? Listings, which we always do. We're going to heavier press on it now. Sales inventory. This is telling. In 2019, we had 865 active listings. In 2020, we had 688, a pretty big decline, right? From 865 to 688, 205. So we're beaten to go forward, right? Whipping that horse as much as we can, but he doesn't have any oats to eat. If we had more listings, we would have more sales, and we can't get more listings except for who? New home builders. So really, you got to get to new home builders. I was just talking to Jeanette before the meeting. Greg, I've got to go to Lakeland to try to find an affordable house. I've got to go to Brooksville to try to find an affordable house. And there's affordable people that are trying to buy houses, but there's no affordable houses for them. So the emphasis draws on you, and we got to start talking about that more and more. Opens would be sales. So this year our sales are down to 1.5 million. There were 2.6 million and 2.4 million. So what does that mean? That's commissions. Ouch. But when you go from 6 million home sales to 1.4 million to 4 million home sales, that's a 30-something% drop. So that's where we're at. Total sides, 112 this month in 2023, 266, 306 in 2020. That was a boom. That was fantasy world. We enjoyed it. It's like having a good batch of some drug or something, right? It was really good, but we're not there anymore. So that's our sides. Pendings. Now this is encouraging. 2020, we had 3 million pending. We had 4.643 million pending. What do we have going into 2023? 5.9, almost $6 million. So if you're looking on the side, what's that song? The Future So Bright. Right? So that's a good sign. Our pendings are up. And I purposely had Angelique move all of Jeff's pendings, all the condo buildings into 2024. So they're not in here. That's important because I really screwed myself up in December thinking they were all going to close in December and they weren't in there. So we closed in January. So that's very good. So our pendings are up. And why are our pendings out so far? Because a lot of what we're selling are new homes. And when are they going to close? When they're done. And it's going to be a while. So there's a good sign. Cancels at rate. And then closings. Now this is important because this is where I go off the grid. 2019 was a good year. What did we do in January in 2019? 1,025,000. We did 1,000,001 in 2020. We're going to do 1,019,000. So we're almost right where we were in 2019, which was a good year. Okay. Okay. So 2019, right about where we are. Okay. I think there's one more highlighted. Total sides. Look at that, 86 to 146. But the volume's about the same. What causes that? Average price is higher. Brian's farm was 365 to 450 3 years ago. Now it's 800 to 1,000,000 something, right? Double.
It's complex.
Complicated.
It's complicated
and competitive. Kills me, right? So I thought that was interesting to say. And if you don't mind, go to, I think I downloaded it already. It's Jeanette sent me this graph and it summarized what we did last week. PowerPoint. No, this is it. Is that big enough for you to see? It's not going to let me get any bigger. I had it bigger. There we go. This was just a nice summary comparison of what we talked about last week. So now this is comparing January 22 to 23. So that's coming off the drug-induced high of post-pandemic crazy real estate. And it's shocking. Closed sales down 32%, 35%, cash sales down 35%. What does that mean? The investors lost confidence. They're not putting their cash in. Median sales price is up 4%, average sales price up 5.2%. Dollar volume is down 30%. Median price down 5%. Time to contract, 40 days versus 14. What's average? What's a normal market? 6 months, which is 180 days. It's 40 days. That a robust market? Very robust. Buyer's market or seller's market? Seller's market. Median time to sale, 85 days now versus 58 days. So what does that mean we need to learn? Take longer listing agreements, none of this 90-day shit anymore, back to 6 months, and stay in touch with your sellers weekly, every week, and give them a new update and show them what's happening, because it's not bad. This is all good stuff. There's nothing wrong here. We're just getting back to pre-fantasy world.
You need to make sure that you look at that. It says median time to contract 40 days. So you're saying, well, I could take a 90-day listing. I'll sell it in 40, but the median time to the sale is nearly 90 days. So if you go under contract and something cancels and you're right at that 90-day mark, you are fighting to extend that listing. I'd rather have the listing for 6 months locked up and have to talk with them when they come to me about canceling, rather than it already canceling and me having to fight to get them to extend it. So that's the point of taking the longer listing, even though they're selling quicker.
Yeah, because if it does, do contracts cancel? Occasionally they do, right, Lorena?
And
Pending
that,
sales January down 20% from January previous year. Listings 26,000 versus 27,000, only down 5%. Pending inventory 32% versus 32,000 versus 44,000. And then inventory, inventory's back up 63. We'll see the graphs in a minute. 65.364 versus 27,000 and inventory of active listings. So we're getting more, but they're selling, but you can't feel it when you're out in the street right now. Okay, back to PowerPoint. And I think what we're going to do now. Oh, did I read Ellie's blog? Yeah, that's it. All right, so we did Paramount. So we're going to look at the Keeping Current Matters, which is the new subscription we have, which gives us market data that we can then share with you. And this is the last couple slides. I was going to pick on the managers for those. It starts at keep going. It's right above mortgage rates. One more above that. I think we did one more above that. It was right before. There's new homes. Yeah, that's my pitch for new homes. Let me just start right there. So new home monthly inventory is what? They've got it. I talked to Courtney from D.R. Horton on the boat on Friday, and she said, we've got 700 units in the ground at some stage of selling. And then I questioned her and I said, are you putting all of those on the market? And she said, yes. And I didn't know that. So MLS has D.R. Horton's inventory as for sale, even though it's stage D and it's not ready for 9 months, it's still going to be on the market. So we're seeing a lot of the inventory on the market, but it's not really available because you can't close on it for 9 days. So the couple who's getting transferred in 60 days, they can't move there because there's no place for them to go. We need more temporary housing. I also had Darren Salzberg, who's the president of D.R. Horton, send me a note. They're building a TBR community. Oh, I'm sorry, STR, sell to rent. They're selling rental. They're building a whole community of rental homes and they're putting them on the market for rent. And that has become the biggest rent new construction percentage of things. All these builders are building communities full of single family homes that they're going to sell to investors to rent. So Darren sent me that note and said, if you know anybody in this market, please let me know. So I reached out to Own America. Remember Own America from years ago? Adam Stern still works there. And so I sent him that. He was so excited. He copied me on all the correspondence. He's going back and forth with D.R. Horton. He says, I've got people coming, investors with big money, coming out of the woodwork, wanting to buy single family portfolios for rent. And now D.R. Horton's going to build brand new subdivisions of nothing but that. So they'll look like subdivisions, but they'll all be filled with renters instead of, and that's the biggest segment. That was actually north of Orlando, that particular one, but they weren't selling individual houses. These are designed for hedge funds to come in and buy. So they're going to squeeze the little guy a lot. But the point is, if you're looking for inventory, we got a 9-month supply of homes, of new homes. So you really need to learn D.R. Horton, West Bay, what's it, Casa Fina. And a lot of these guys are running out of their inventory. Casa Fresca. Sounds like a cheese. 2022. So what did they do? If the black is 2021 and the tan is 2022, they've been stocking inventory. So they stopped building when the pandemic happened and that froze everything. And then the supply chain disruption came in. Now they're planning 9 months to build a house where it should be 5 months, but that's where the inventory is. So we've got new home inventory. So I know you get a lot of those. I know we forward a lot of the New Builder magazine inventory for you, but you got to study it. You got to see what's out there. Go down. Showing traffic is dipping. You guys saying that? Our leads went up substantially this week. So like 120 to 190-ish. That was a good sign. Keep going. Mortgage rates. This is the key. And I got to tell you, my perspective is we're not going to see sub 4 ever again. We might dip into high 4s, but we're probably going to see mid 5s with buy downs. We can get into the high 4s, low 5s, which is a really good place to buy. So our track talk to the consumer has got to be, you're probably not going to see 3s again, but get in the market at 5 or 6 because it could go 7, 8, 9, right? 2.7, Brad. So what's our thing? Marry the house, date the mortgage. And explains it pretty well. If rates do go down, you can always refinance. It's going to cost you a couple $1,000, but you can refinance. But that's where we are, 6.9% fixed. And that's about where we're going to bounce around. Now they're saying 2 more Fed rate cuts, which normally mean rates go up. But in the meantime, it means no effect on rates because the market is just bizarre. But we have to get through that. I was going to call managers for these actually. What's mortgage rate projections, Chris? You want to talk that one?
Yeah, so no one
Knows.
can tell the future. No one has a crystal ball. So what they'll do is they will survey different groups, Fannie Mae, MBA, and NAR, and see what their projections are for mortgage rates moving forward through 2023. And Fannie Mae, it looks like every single one of them is projecting for rates to be from where they are to slowly start to dip down. You can see Fannie Mae goes from 6.4 down to 6.1 by the end of the year. MBA goes from 6.2 down to 5.2, and NAR goes from 6.1 down to 5.5. So the averages are looking like we're going to go from 6.5 down to 5.5 based on what the average of all the projections are from the major conglomerates that are there of what they're expecting for the mortgage rates to do over the year.
Mm-hmm.
That's good for buyers. We're still in a seller's market. You've seen all the stats showing that we have 45-day supply of homes. It's still a seller's market. The more that we adjust those interest rates and come down, it's going to bring more buyers back into the market, and we need the inventory to be able to sell to them. So if we don't have that, we're going to end up in a similar position as we had 2 years ago with less inventory, 3% rates where buyers just go crazy and you get another frenzy and cash offers, over asking, and the buyers will end up in that same position. That's why we need listings, because no matter what happens, the listings on the market are going to sell and the buyers seeing the rates come down are going to come back in and buy, and we need that inventory to sell.
Let me comment on that too, because I'm seeing a little bit of, I don't want to use the word lazy, but I'm gonna use lazy, little laziness on the side, because we're back to the point, it's going to sell anyway. So why make sure the AC is tuned up? Why make sure the roof has been checked? Why make sure we've got a survey? Why make sure we've got a roof that's of its useful life within this period? Why even bother checking with the insurance company to see if there's going to be an insurance issue for the new buyer? So we're getting lax on those things, and we're getting bit in the ass when it comes to inspection period, because now the listing agent didn't do any work on it. The buyer comes in and says, I'm afraid to make this offer because I don't know what it is. And then you're creating your own objections. Objection number 1, well, I don't want to make an offer until I find out what condition it's in. Well, that's a bad idea, because you want to put the offer in, tie it up so somebody else doesn't get it, then go do your inspection during your inspection period. But the listing agent could alleviate all those problems if they do the inspections like a certified pre-loved home up front, which Joy asked us about Brandon special.
Yep.
469 any house,
Okay, he's a
full wind met, termite inspection, everything included.
$489 for any property under 2,500 square foot, but he will do a pre-listing inspection for $350 on any home under 2,400 square foot. You'll get a pre-listing inspection for your listing. And then he will do for, I think it's $150 to the buyer. He will do a re-inspect for the buyer and come out and meet them and go do a walkthrough when the buyer's ready to do it, whenever you get it under contract, if they would prefer to use him and save some money.
I think you're all nuts to put a house on the market and not know. I'm going ahead of myself, but
Well, what's one of our slogans as a company? Your finest real estate experience guaranteed. We should be doing those things. We should be doing pre-listing inspections, getting the home ready for sale, and so that we can provide that finest real estate experience for the seller and for the buyer and the agent on the other side.
we'll look at it the flip side. You're the buyer's agent. and you present your buyer a listing from XYZ Realty, and there's no survey on attachments, there's no HOA docs, there's no condo docs, there's no certification of a roof inspection that has been done, there's no anything to help your buyer feel comfortable. As opposed to go to one of John's listings and it's going to, here's the survey, notice there's no encroachments. Here's the AC paperwork. It's 8 years solid. We've had it maintained all the time. Here's the water heater was replaced 3 years ago. The roof was done 8 years ago. So there's only 8 years left. And it's when the buyer's going, this one looks good. As opposed to, well, let's not get attached to the outcome. Let's put an offer in. We'll see what happens. We'll get the inspection. We'll spend $400 or $500. And then we'll find out, oh shit, the roof is old. The water heater's old, all this other stuff. And they lose confidence in the deal. And it's really psychology. Aren't we buy with emotion and justify with logic, right? If the house looks good, and a lot of houses look good until you look under the covers and go, oh, sugar, the roof is 17 years old. We'll call Lindsay at Florida Best Quote and you're going to find out there's not many carriers open for a house with a 17-year-old roof if it's shingle, right? So those are just little things we have to get back into, in my opinion. We never should have left.
I just got notified on literally yesterday on one of my investment properties. It's got a 2-year-old roof, a 2-year-old AC, a 2-year-old water heater, 5-year-old electric, and 5-year-old plumbing. Everything is good. And they're canceling my policy. And they're no longer going to cover it after when it comes up for renewal.
Are they
So
leaving Florida?
I didn't look that far into it, but that was just the notice I got. So it's, you never know what you're going to run into. It's best to always have this information, get it done up front because you never know.
I haven't talked to Trevor yet, but I know he's screwed. He bought his house on Miller Mac for $89,000, which is now 300. And his flood insurance was a third-party carrier who pulled out of Florida. So he's got no FEMA to fall back on. And there's no third-party carrier who's going to write an 8-foot floodplain and an AE zone. So I don't know what's going to happen. Be very interesting. Next slide. They'll do force it, but they'll go to FEMA. Well, you watch. No, FEMA with no if it's not an assignable FEMA policy. If it's assignable, you can assume the previous owner's rate. But once you drop FEMA, the assignability is not available. You got to go to full actuarial rate. He's going to be $6,000 or $7,000 a year in flood insurance, which is going to lower the value of his house by the amount of mortgage payment that extra $4,000 is going to be, which is going to be, it'll take $80,000 off the value of his house to make it an even trade for what a mortgage payment would be. Kathleen, why don't you talk about mortgage rates, 30-year fixed? Where are they going?
Where they're going down. As you look at the scale at the bottom, I have to turn mine sideways, my eyes. You'll see from 2022, where you see the spikes, and then you see it coming down, coming down, coming down, coming down.
Which makes no sense because the Fed has said they're going to raise rates 2 more times.
Yes,
But
they
that's good information to talk to a buyer. So marry the date the mortgage. If
Yep.
it goes, now it's generally speaking, it used to be 2% change to justify the cost to do the refi. Now some mortgage brokers are saying 1% justifies it. So you're not going to go from 5.4 to 5.2 and make an adjustment. If it drops into 4.5, then you'd probably want to make that switch.
Well, it also means they're loosening up the credit just a little bit. They're loosening it up. When you see this going down like that, they realize they need to put more money into the economy.
Yeah. And you're also going to see the next couple sides are going to see that the mortgage restrictions, the tightening is getting stronger. So you're going to take these higher rates. You got to qualify harder because they want to make sure you're there.
Right.
I think that's fascinating right there. It just predicts. So we're going to our spring selling season with lower interest rates. Lower interest rates means more affordability. So if they can only qualify for a 275 house, if the rates drop a point, they can qualify for a $300,000 house, which is where they need to be to buy a house, a decent house in this market.
Yep.
And this is at mortgage creditability, ability index. Who wants to take a shot at that one?
I'll take a shot at it.
Okay.
This comes from your mortgage bank association, and basically what you're seeing here is how when the credit gets tightening, when the numbers are going up really, really high, the credit is expanding. When the numbers go down, I'm sorry, I said that in reverse. Yeah, no, when the numbers are up high, that means that the credit was loosening up. Now, when you see the numbers coming down, it's tightening. But then you see now on the very edge here, the very, very last spot,
Back up.
going back up. So that means, and that's where I was getting my information from earlier, and you and I read a lot of the same data. This is giving us more room for our buyers to be able to get more deals, to get more house with hopefully less money.
And different loan products that are out there for them to take. So go back one more time. Look at the beginning of April. we were down in these low numbers. And then they loosened credit and sales took off. Now they're tightening credit and sales are slowing down. So this is all like by design that's happening.
Mhm. But compared to,
This is the key that when you still hear people saying, yeah, but the bubble's going to burst. This is not a bubble. We're just not in it. These are lending standards. And here in 2006 and 2007, there were no standards.
Yeah.
I could show up dead with no pulse and they'd give me a loan. Right. The dog got the loan because real estate was never going to go down. It was going to go up and the bank felt safe and they had negative amortizing loans. You actually owed more every month than what you paid. It was dumb. And then they said, oh shit, the market killed us. Let's come down here, which is right above 100. And now we're right at 100. So it's under control. We're not lending people money that can't.
it's just crazy. 800
should've.
times easier to get a house. It was like, it's just unbelievable when you see how drastic this is. But look at the difference between 2013. You look at this, you're like, oh my goodness, it's getting really tight. You're like, no, they were just really, 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 really loose with their standards back at that time. This is where it should be. And it should fluctuate up and down based on what the economy is doing, what sales are doing, what the Fed is doing. Should have some minor, small fluctuations up and down here. You should never see this. But we did, and we are here because of those things. And our standards are much tighter and much easier. If you're buying a house, you're qualified for that house. That's why we don't have to worry so much about the foreclosures going as crazy as they were. It'll be for other reasons.
Yep.
Standards are- we didn't have the standards in place like we should have back during the bubble, as you see how the numbers went really, really high. This is why this index is so important to follow. This is proof in the pudding. The data doesn't lie.
Yep. Well, when they loosened the standards, it also poured a lot of people into the market who could afford housing. It increased prices very quickly. When the recession hit, there was no equity in their homes, and that's why we lost a lot went into foreclosure.
And short
Because-
sales.
Yeah, well, this is the short sales. It was the HELOC loans, which when those rates went up, when the short-term rates went up, the HELOC loans went up and people couldn't afford the fixed mortgage and the HELOC at the same time. So it was
The HELOC was
a
adjustable.
snowball effect. Yeah.
I'd be curious to see the charts and graphs for the 10 years prior.
Yeah.
So you could really see
It would
the
be right down
trend
here again.
that it's going to be down here again. And then
Yeah.
coming into this time, it's going to spike and then come back. And you could really see the anomaly of what that was. That really helps to explain to a consumer why we're not in the same position.
And I think it's important not to deaf ear this. Your customers have this in their head. They may not be verbalizing it, but as you're driving around and having conversations with them, bring this up. This is not like 2005 where you could walk into a bank and say, here's my bank statement, give me a loan. They're looking up your skirt, they're cleaning everything. They want to know.
Well, Lauren just made a good point too. FHA just recently announced that they're going to reduce their mortgage insurance premium amount, and it could save some borrowers up to $800 a year. So the interest rates may be a little bit higher, but there are other things that are happening throughout the markets, like FHA lowering the mortgage insurance premiums. That's $60 or $70 a month. That's $10,000, $12,000 in purchasing power. Could be up to $13,000, $15,000 in purchasing power a buyer could gain because the mortgage insurance premium goes down.
So here's something I haven't taken the time to do, but I want to do. Let's take a typical $300,000 house. What does a buyer think is better? To get the house for $290 or pay $300 and apply $10,000 to buy down the interest rate? Yeah, if you knock the price from $300 to $290, you're going to save $40 or $50 a month on your mortgage payment. If you buy the rate down from 6.5 to 5.7, you're going to save $200 or $300 a month. All right. So when you buy a car, are you buying the car? What do they say? How much you want to pay? Right. And they work the numbers back and forth. They say, here you go, $380 a month. You're set. What am I paying for the car? It doesn't matter. It's $380 a month. Right. For 72 months or 84 months, they'll go now. Right. And that's when you're really screwed. When they take that term out because you're paying interest and, it's like the APR, you figure out the end of the rate loan is bad. But yeah, we need to counsel them. It's much better to pay down the interest rate than it is to buy the house for $10,000 cheaper. So even if the seller wants 300, give them 310 and take the thing back. And one of the videos, I'm going to get to this slide in a minute, but we'll go for it now. So Sammy sent me a list. She wants public facing content. So she sent me a list and Taylor came over the other day and I shot like 15 videos. So when Poonam was he wrote a code. So when it comes out, it just automatically goes to the team. So we're putting those out. I hope you watch them, but they're not so much for me to eat you. It's for you to think, hey, this is meaningful content. I'm going to post this myself. Don't forward mine. Speak from your own. I promise I prepared nothing for that. I just said, okay, Sammy wants to talk about this. Puh. So it's not professional. It's not that. It's just me spitting out shit. And it's good and it's getting views. So Brian says, hey, I can say that. I can talk about homestead exemption, the benefits of home ownership. Those are things we want to see out in the marketplace. So take advantage of that and try it. So we're forcing them out. And I know it's another email. Don't unsubscribe, but do give us that thumbs up because it moves our rankings. You'll see, I think we have 7,700 followers on our YouTube channel now, which is getting there. So the more you like it and share it, it'll pop up and show around. But that's kind of cool. And then this is resources. We're done with that side. Oh, now it's my inbox. All right. Who went to the top agent event Friday? Did you guys notice one thing I noticed? Tell me what you noticed. What did you notice about the attendees? Everyone was happy. It was awesome. It's like we were let out of, it's like playground time. We got out of the classroom, we got out of the field, and it was a beautiful day and everybody's happy and smiling and it was just cool. It was, we're playing on a yacht. It's not it was a great environment and everybody was just happy. I had a ball. Mhm. They gave us the big boat. We had all the seating and dining in the front, seating and dining in the back. We had the big sun deck on the top. The food was really good. Yep. So Susie, thank you for organizing that for us. That's good. And we're going to get back on the quarterly calendar now because all this other crap's behind us. So that's good. Florida 21 starts Saturday. If you're not going, you got a one-time cheap shot, $221 for the day. And you put code 121 SAT, and that'll get your price down to $220 where you can drive over for the morning, drive home in the afternoon, get the experience of what 121 is like, because we're not going to have a Florida 21 this year, which is basically a mini version of 121. So I'm going Saturday. We've got all kinds of things Saturday, Sunday, Monday, drive home Tuesday. So it's going to be a good time. We'll get you the information if you missed it, but it's chock full of learning opportunities and just relaxation time if that's what you want. So that's a good thing to do. Real Trends 500s is a big deal. Century 21 fills it out for all of us, but they give you a chance to go in and customize your LinkedIn and your Facebook and your Instagram and your TikTok and all those things if you want. So these agents, Cody Calvo, Jeff, Susie Wood-Sigmund, Robin Bennett, and Heidi are all candidates. They're in the Real Trends top 500, which is pretty cool. So hopefully they'll go in and figure that email out and add if they want to. I'm not adding mine because I don't really care. But that's kind of cool. So we got 5 people in our company on the top 500 of 80,000 real estate agents in the country. Right? No, I'm sorry. No, 80,000 brokerages. There's, oh my God, there's 1.5 million realtors. That's a pretty big accomplishment. So proud of them. I talked about on YouTube videos, Stranger Danger. Some guy named Grick LaParides is targeting women agents, and he's very nice. And he calls you and he wants to tell you about all the investment properties he wants to buy. And he's really enjoys the company. He hasn't done anything bad, but he's working with multiple agents within our company. And he's sending his personal information, inquiring about listings, and he doesn't drive. So you got to go pick him up at his place. And then he's a scammer. So if you see a guy named Greg LaParides,
This isn't just a one-off. We've had multiple
of our agents,
multiple agents, multiple of our offices that he's contacted to do this. All the agents have said he didn't do anything wrong, but it just kind of felt a little
creepy.
awkward, and then it became a little creepy and awkward after a week or two. So just be aware of that name and pay attention, please.
mm-hmm.
Just remember the safety protocols. Oh, that's the guy that scammed me. He smells like death. Oh, that was. He has just a bad odor to him. Those are the comments.
How do you say that in a nice way?
Yeah.
He stinks.
Yeah. So he's not going to buy anything. He's just going to drag you around. Just remember the safety protocols.
Drag you around. That sounds bad too.
Mike Ferry, if you're ever in a position that you don't feel safe, please call your office and tell them, use the word Mike Ferry. I'm late for my appointment with Mike Ferry at whatever address that you're headed to, and tell them, I should be there. I should be there in about 5-10 minutes. But if you call the office, we'll know that there's an issue. We'll know where you're headed, and we'll make sure that we get the proper people there to help keep you safe. So just a reminder.
Okay. I showed the FAO chart. New home sales jump. That was an article Ray Monahan sent me. new home sales are jumping because they've got the inventory in the marketplace and they're making it easy to buy. What are they doing? Incentives, right? Price discounts. They're giving allowances and they're giving agent bonuses and they're paying closing costs and they're buying down interest rates. That's what your resale sellers are competing with. And if you're not bringing that up on a presentation, you're missing the boat.
It's kind of hard to compete when rates are in the 6 to 6.5 right now. And the builder just bought, Lauren mentioned hers was down to like 4.75. She just has a buyer with new construction that got bought down to that. We had another one that was at 4.99. That's difficult for your resale. to
Even
compete
house,
with.
$400 or $500 less a month, same, and brand new, and nobody's burnt anything in the oven yet. So it's crazy. You got to know that stuff. This is just the crystal ball is partially working now. Welcome new agents in my inbox where it says L8's blog. Go back. Mr. Puma, I think you'll find that everything I want to do is starred. So here, Don Matthias is down here. Mike, I can't see you on my screen. Are you there? You want to talk about Don? Welcome to BE3.
Yeah, Don's going to be great. Comes with a heavy experience from up north where he was doing a ton in real estate up there and just recently moved down here, and he's going to absolutely crush it with us. And he's in Pasco, so we're really pumped to have Don, and he's going to be great. Really excited.
Awesome. Hopefully he's online now. Joe, you want to talk about Ashton?
Yes, Ashton is coming with us. She's coming back to the area, so we're looking forward to having her back with us.
Nice. Welcome, Ashton. Hope you're online too. Can't learn from home without the TV on. What's next on the slide? I'll come back to real satisfied surveys. Insurance, everybody I've talked to is a double. Now you can negotiate a little bit. I raised my deductible and I got mine down. So I was 5,000 a year. They took me to 10,000 a year and I got them down to 6,800 a year. But that's still a huge increase. That's going to affect a lot of people. So, and MLS still has the old flood. This is my hazard insurance, not even my flood. My flood is still reasonable because I'm grandfathered in with the cap. Right, I'm going to switch to a third party anyway, but it's happening to you as a person living in your home, and your customers are getting it too. The insurance companies are saying, screw it. So my insurance agent says Demotech is a rating agency, whereas AM Best is the best you can do. So I'm with Progressive ASI, which is AM Best rated. They have enough money. If there's a storm, they can cover my claim. But what the state did is they created another rating agency, which is much more lenient. So you can get a good rating on Demotech, but it's a shitty rating on AM and Best. But they can't have these companies not getting business. So they lowered the rating system. So you're getting a watered down version, but they don't have the right thing. So my insurance agent was covering me saying, Craig, no, I'm not putting you with the Demotech company. You got to be this. And the only one you can get is who you're with, which is Progressive ASI. And Progressive ASI for me came in lower than the Demotech companies because I've got 3 claims made on my policy and no insurance company wanted to take me with 3 prior claims, which is stupid because I fixed the claims. I had I had 3 roof claims, but I should just replace the roof 3 years ago. But now they're not going to take because I had 3 roof claims. Well, now I got a new roof, which means I'm safer. It doesn't make any sense. They don't want the risk and they're pooling their resources. They don't want too many loans in one particular area. So it's going to be tough. And there's not many AM Best rated companies you can go with. So you're either going to have dumbed down insurance or you're going to pay a really high premium. So it's there. So it's important for, I think, our listing agents to know, because if I was a buyer and your house is substandard as far as maintenance, and the insurance is going to be $3,000 or $4,000 a year more than this house because it's not substandard, it's a difference. And I need to know it. I don't need to do anything about it, but I need to know it, whether I share it with the buyer or not. So that's one. I mentioned BE3 Miami. That company's on board. It was Century 21 Continental. It's now Century 21 BE3. They're in Miami and South Miami in a beautiful market. There are 130 agents on the roster, and they're slowly but surely integrating into our systems. We have to back out Dash and all this other stuff that didn't work quite right. But
Do you know what their average sale price is off the top of your head?
yeah, I want to say it's in the 8s. Yeah, I mean, in the neighborhood, the cheapest house is $1 million. I mean, just $1 million for a big house on not a big house, a house on a big lot. And that's in Pinecrest, South Miami, Kendall area. Big stuff. Paramount March training we talked about, like our YouTube channel talked about. The Rise trainings, I think they're starting again. Ashley, I'm gonna ask you to send out a note of when they are. So Rise Network, a lot of you have been asking for role playing and best practices. So within our company, we have that, but we've got some really good stars that are cleaning up in Ojo and Op City. And that's just an option for everybody to play in. But these best practices, and I've been on a lot of them, the agents are just sharing their information on how they're getting their leads, what they're doing with their CRM, how they're getting their surveys. It's just good information that if you're going to work with internet leads, how to deal with it. So those are available and we'll get those out to you. And that's that on that. Here's the slides. So look at last week, 123, this week, 192. Century 21 and Ojo, I took Zap out because Zap is not there anymore. So that's 55. That's a lot of internet leads, which it's just a lot of leads. Put them in your database and your Moxie and put them on a what, Jimmy? An email drip campaign, right? Relo up double from last week. Op City a little down. Walk-ins I left off the chart last week, but we had 11 walk-ins. So that's your floor time that are coming in. Sign calls up 53 over 40. Zillow Flex up 24. I don't know what the hell happened there, but we slammed it with Zillow this week. And then so yeah, Jagger, yeah, it's coming. Social items that nobody's using, but rentals, I put that on there on purpose because you guys are now getting rentals. Now, number one, we don't do property management, right? Don't even ask because I'm not doing it. I'm not holding escrow accounts. I'm not doing all that shit. And it's 90% of your complaints and 10% of your revenue. So that's not it. So we had last week, we had Ralph from Rent Solutions. Great, use whoever you want, but we're not going to property manage, but they do. They got 1,400 properties, 1,300 properties now. And they got a full on computerized system, automates everything, portals for billing. The landlords can check in, see what they want to see. Good company. So, but you're going to see more and more. And that's because homeowners say, I'm not selling. I told my daughter, you're never selling that house. You bought it in the twos. You got a sub 3% rate. Your payments, $1,000 a month. It'll rent for $2,400 a month. You're better off renting it, right? For $2,400, make $1,400 a month. That'll make most of the mortgage payment on your next house. So why would a seller sell a house like that? They bought for peanuts and have a fixed rate low round. They're not. They're going to rent it, and you should advise them to do that, unless they got a better use for the cash. Right? Nice increase. Okay. So yeah, so last week was the February birthdays, and today's Laura's birthday. But this is the March week, so you're gonna get recognized twice. Jackie Stone's birthday is tomorrow in Apollo Beach. Ken is a builder friend in South Tampa, so he's just on the list, so we remember his birthday on March 3rd. Sebastian Burley, BE3 agent from Hernando, is March 4th. Sandy Tams in Sun City, March 4th as well. We're having a whole party in Orlando for her, by the way, on March 4th. We invited all Century 21s to Orlando just for her birthday. And then Dave is going to benefit from the hangover of that party on the 5th in Orlando. And then Lisa's going to close out the birthday at the celebration for 121 for Lisa on the 6th. And then Veronica Sierra from Madeira Beach, his birthday is on the 6th as well. So there's our birthdays for the week. I just like saying 20 in the world. It sounds good. So I put that on there again. There's your criteria for 2065 or for 2023, for $165,000. All right. So let's talk about a couple things before we go. The numbers look bad, right? They always look bad. And that's why I showed you. So compared to 2019, we're back doing what we were doing. 2019 was okay. It was a good year. It didn't start our growth years. I want to get back to the growth years. So what I want to see happen, and we'll go to the real satisfied. If you go to see my sales mini folder on the list right below this, real satisfied. Quotes. You've heard me say it 1,000 times. The activities in the real estate market are dependent upon the activities of the agents in that market. The world says the US is going to do 4 million home sales. Do you believe we can build markets? Yes. What is one of the smartest things a person could do right now? Does the US population have more cash now than they've ever had? Yes. And in the form of what? Mostly home equity. I've never had the home equity I have now. In 2005, the house wasn't worth what it's worth now. 2005 was a damn good year, but my house is worth more now. Right? So do people believe is the rental market strong? Right? Can you rent a house for more than you can buy one for? Yes. So what if we made a conscious effort to educate, number one, ourselves, and number two, our buying public on the advantages of using the equity in their home to make an investment property purchase? Would that create a new market where we could add more home sales They wouldn't be residential home sales where people are moving in and taking advantage of them, but we would trigger more home sales we would normally have if we use salesmanship to convince a consumer that it might be a good idea to buy an investment property. Can I talk about you for a minute? How many rental properties do you have? I'm talking to Aixa. About 15, and you've been buying them for 20 something years, right? So if you have a house that you've owned for 20 years and a waterfront house, maybe you bought for 250, 300. You bought some waterfront homes in the 250, 300 range and you collected really good rent for a long period of time. And now they're worth 700, 800, 900, a million or more. So she's made $700,000 or $800,000 on that investment property, collected positive cash flow of $500 to $1,000 a month, $6,000 to $12,000 a year for 15 years, right? It's been a nice long-term decision. So I met this guy named Frank. He came on our top agent cruise and he's got a class, which he charges $6,000 a head for, and he does them live. He was from New Jersey, so he's got that little New Jersey attitude to him, but he's going to do that class for us for no charge. It's called Velocity of Money. And the purpose is for him, selfishly, he's a loan officer. So he wants to teach people how to leverage and their real estate to get a loan to buy an investment property. And he's got a class he teaches called How to Become a Real Estate Millionaire. Sounds good. Everybody wants to be a real estate millionaire, right? So if he can teach us to sell a house to John and Mary, and then we treat John and Mary like our customer to do what Aixa has done over time. None of this is get rich quick shit. You buy one house and he shows you how you can use that house and get where you get the money from. You get the equity out of this house to buy this house, and then you own it, you rent it, you do all this. And he doesn't forecast forecast rents without property management included, which I 100% agree with. Because if you got to collect the rent and all that stuff, you got a husband who does it for you. But other than that, you get a property. So you got to find the right house, the right price, that cash flows, and it's work. Nothing's easy, but you get one and you make $500 or $600 a month. That's pretty cool. And then you get two, and then you get three, and over time you become a real estate millionaire. But what a compelling thing to build a market. So if the market's going to do 4 million home sales, and we can get 20% of our customers to buy more than one house, we can just increase the number of home sales in the U.S. because we don't care if they're rental home sales or single family home sales, right? But we're actually helping a customer build net worth and wealth,
And
they can retire.
you can not only help a customer do that, you can help someone else in the marketplace. How many people have bought rental properties in the last 2 or 3 years? How many absentee owners do you see on that list? There's a lot. And how many of them don't take the recommendation of putting property management in place? A lot,
Foolish.
because I can do it myself. How many of them are tired of being landlords?
The
So
ones who are
you,
doing it themselves.
you can go and you can help create that market. Talking to absentee owners, you can talk to them and find out, hey, I'm just calling to see if about your property in the Riverview area, and if you're ever interested in selling that property. How's that investment doing for you? Great. I love the investment. It's wonderful.
Want to
Wonderful.
buy another one?
I'm talking to other people about with just like you who might not be as happy with their investment. Would you be interested in purchasing another one? Or, it's been kind of tough. It's been difficult. Well, I have some people lined up that are ready to purchase. If you are interested in doing that, let me show you how much equity you have. So you can work multiple angles from this, not just going after the investor side. You can go after the people who are already in the homes to see if you can pair some people together.
And then stick around because we got tax 1031 exchange people and all these other things that can maximize. You're never going to get rich paying taxes, right? It's just ain't going to happen. But if you can 1031 the profit from this house into that house, and instead of a $200,000 house bringing in $2,400 a month, you got a $400,000 house bringing in $5,000 a month, it's a better situation. Generally get better tenants, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So cool opportunities. That's what I'm kind of focused on as we move into second quarter, is let's sharpen our skills and let's build a new market. Let's not just sit here and say, there's only 4 million home sales. Let's fight over those. Let's fight over those and let's create an additional segment of market, which we can do. So I'm looking forward to this class. We're scheduling in the near future. Probably going to be an afternoon. I like to do everything at 8:30 in the morning just because it's programmed and it's hard to take out time in the middle of the day, but I don't think we're going to do it that way. So that's all I got. Management team, any comments before we sign off? We're going to be on time today for 9:30. Mr. Beggins, you're very quiet today.
I'm just soaking in all the knowledge, man.
We said the word absentee owner, and I thought you might have had a chime in for that, but
Might as well call them, guys. It's do it. I'm just excited, guys. Take advantage of the fact that we are getting in the spring selling season, and there's nothing to buy if you don't have inventory. So every spare moment you have today, think about how can I find a place to put my sign. And absentee owners is a good start.
Hey, give us a real life take on red tide. What's happening in your market?
It is sporadic and it's around, but it's not devastating as it was before up here, at least. I know a little further south, it's a little more aggressive. And we just got kind of the remnants because of a southerly wind we had last week for a few days. So we're hoping that it gets shot out of here again. So not major alarm, but it's not going to kill tourism or anything like that right now. So we're just hoping it goes away.
Kat, what's happening in Sarasota and Longboat?
Gotten better, but it was pretty rough patches for about the last 5-6 weeks. We really had a problem with it, particularly downtown Sarasota had a huge problem with it. Drifted out Longboat, but we're starting to see it clear up. So I think we're going to be in good shape.
Real things we have to deal with, right? That hurts tourism. They stop coming. Jeff, just for fun, of the harbor that we just closed out, how many of those are full-time residents versus absentee owners versus?
Of the 38, there's probably 10 full-timers.
Okay,
And the rest are second homers, and some of them are not renting. And then there's probably 10 that are renting.
nice. That's a third.
Mhm.
Puma, any take homes? Your comments for today were good. How many people are using some of Mike's things? You know the time it takes for him to do all that? Do it for TikTok this way, do it for LinkedIn this way, do it for Facebook this way, do it for Instagram this way, put it in your blog this way. It's a lot of content. I hope you use it. Ashley, any reload updates?
Can't wait for 121. I'm sure we'll have some by then.
I'm sure we will. Okay, that's all we got. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Thomas, I skipped you. No words from your mouth today.
Guys, have a blessed day. Make it happen.
And a few words. All right, everybody, on to regular office meetings. Thank you.